Chapter 4: Keys, Addresses. You may have heard that Bitcoin is based on cryptography, which is a branch of mathematics used extensively in computer security. Cryptography means secret writing in Greek, but the science of cryptography encompasses more than just secret writing, which is referred to as encryption. Cryptography can also be used to prove knowledge of a secret without revealing that secret, digital signature, or prove the authenticity of data, digital fingerprint. These types of cryptographic proofs are the mathematical tools critical to Bitcoin and used extensively in Bitcoin applications. Ironically, encryption is not an important part of Bitcoin, as its communications and transaction data are not encrypted and do not need to be encrypted to protect the funds. In this chapter, we will introduce some of the cryptography used in Bitcoin to control ownership of funds in the forms of keys, addresses, and wallets. Introduction. Ownership of Bitcoin is established through digital keys, Bitcoin addresses, and digital signatures. The digital keys are not actually stored in the network, but are instead created and stored by users in a file or a simple database called a wallet. The digital keys in a user's wallet are completely independent of the Bitcoin protocol and can be generated and managed by the user's wallet software without reference to the blockchain or access to the internet. Keys enable many of the interesting properties of Bitcoin, including decentralized trust and control, ownership attestation, and the cryptographic proof security model. Most Bitcoin transactions require a valid digital signature to be included in the blockchain, which can only be generated with a secret key. Therefore, anyone with a copy of that key has control of the Bitcoin. Keys come in pairs, consisting of a private key and a public key. Think of the public key as similar to a bank account number and the private key as similar to the secret PIN or signature on a check that provides control over the account. These digital keys are very rarely seen by the users of Bitcoin. For the most part, they are stored inside the wallet file and managed by the Bitcoin wallet software. In the payment portion of a Bitcoin transaction, the recipient's public key is represented by its digital fingerprint, called a Bitcoin address, which is used in the same way as the beneficiary name on a check. In most cases, a Bitcoin address is generated from and corresponds to a public key. However, not all Bitcoin addresses represent public keys. They can also represent other beneficiaries, such as scripts, as we will see later in this chapter. This way, Bitcoin addresses abstract the recipient of funds, making transaction destination flexible, similar to paper checks. A single payment instrument that can be used to pay into people's accounts, pay into company accounts, pay for bills, or pay to cash. The Bitcoin address is the only representation of the keys that users will routinely see, because this is the part they need to share with the world. First, we will introduce cryptography and explain the mathematics used in Bitcoin. Next, we will look at how keys are generated, stored, and managed. We will review the various encoding formats used to represent private and public keys, addresses, and script addresses. Finally, we will look at advanced use of keys and addresses, vanity, multi-signature, and script addresses and paper wallets.